From the hotel, the river pathway leading to Badia is only a short distance, and we are soon again on the quest for alpine flowers.
Walking along towards Badia.
The walk along the stony river track is fairly flat, but there's still plenty to see.
I know, it's only just started coming up at home, down by the river.
The walk today is again circular. From the hotel, we will follow the river pathway to Badia. From there we take 2 lift chairs to their full height of 2,045 metres. Track 15B is our initial pathway to follow. We gain a little more height, 2,109 metres, almost 7,000 feet, before descending gradually and making our way back to Badia via pathways and roads through various villages and hamlets. A total distance of approximately 12 miles. This stack of timber seems to have been here for quite a while, and will possibly, eventually, keep winter fires burning in Italian homes. I've looked quite hard, but the river doesn't seem to contain many fish. It is probably fed by glacier melt. I'll keep looking though. Conditions may change. The track passes adjacent to what appears to be a large riding school. Again, note the timber stacks in the barn. Winter warmth drying out. It's about 2 miles to Badia, and the chairlifts are on the outskirts of the village.
Looking up from Badia, up to the left-hand side on the cliffs there.
The first chair station, a continuous open chairlift. Just stand in front of it and the lift does the rest. It can be a little scary to start with. Joan wasn't that keen.
Cable car station now. The church there, look.
The mountains look a little obscured by clouds, but the weather forecast is reasonable, so we should be okay.
So you've got to step off to the right when you get off.
I'm quite enjoying this part. It's quiet, except for the natural sounds of the birds and the streams. It's like a drone's eye view of the world. Off one chairlift and onto another. This one is totally open, with no protection from inclement weather at all. At this height, I didn't feel it was that warm. In fact, it was quite cold. Almost time to put on extra clothing, although the sun was breaking through the clouds. The church dates back to the 15th century, but at the end of the 17th century it was deconsecrated by the then Austrian emperor. It was later rescued and partially rebuilt by the local villagers. In the 18th century it was enlarged and provided with a bell tower. The inside is quite ornate. The cliffs rise up steeply in front of us, quite awe-inspiring. Time to put on those extra clothes, as we are going to go even higher. We'll probably take it all off again later, once we start to walk. The views are great, that on top of the world feeling. I try to take it all in and remember everything. Not quite so easy when you get a little older though. We move along the pathway, gradually gaining height. You have to look harder for the flowers, but when you do find them, they're just as stunning.
She got away with words.
These pathways are a mixture of scree, large rocks and earth. Reasonably easy to walk on, although there are some areas you have to really watch your step. We are nevertheless making good progress.
Speechless a bit.
A lot of limestone scree has come down from the cliffs above us, but the pathway itself is fairly firm. Having said that, we don't hang around crossing this open area. The mountain views are breathtaking. We've just about reached as high as we're going to get today. Over 2,100 metres, nearly 7,000 feet. I'm glad of the extra clothing at present. There is quite a keen wind, but I expect we'll lose that when we start to get further down into the valley. In front of us is a large open area full of scree. This part of the path is open to avalanches, is undefined, and it is a case of picking your way through it. Peter and Amon investigate higher up the slope where snow still lingers. A great panoramic shot ensues. The mountain views are fantastic, but don't let us forget the flowers.
Any sense of proportion here into the video.
At the foot of the slope, the pathway is more defined again, and we continue in a downward direction.
Peter talking to some people.
We are reminded that other walkers are also using the tracks when we meet people coming the opposite way.
Making our way gradually down now. Looking behind us, so difficult to explain just how high it is in front of us there.
When I look at your book.
The scenery is starting to change. We're moving from track 15B to track 18, and the wild mountain ruggedness gives way to alpine meadows.
Look at that through the trees.
Once more, there is an abundance of alpine flowers.
The amount of wild flowers in the meadow here is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I don't know whether it is ragged robin or not.
I would say
I think it is, you know. Look,
it's a close relative.
yeah.
What appears to be a plant called ragged robin in the UK seems to be growing wild in the fields. If not the same plant, it is definitely the same family. The flowers keep coming. Some are instantly recognisable, while others take a little bit longer to define.
Just absolutely, strikingly beautiful.
I pushed the wrong thing on my camera and then it came up she wanted to meet it.
As you would expect, we didn't really rush through these flower meadows, but everyone was starting to get a little hungry.
Lovely.
She's a bloody gorgeous bill, isn't it?
It's not bad, mate.
It was time for lunch. I must say, I've eaten in a lot worse situations than this one. Amon has a last wander through the flowers before we eat. She's probably looking for that special picture. Our choice for lunch was a convenient seat on one side of one of the numerous huts in the area. Not that comfortable, but the scenery more than made up for that. A short rest and something to eat revives us all.
Going across all these meadows, heading back towards our hotel in La Villa. But the flowers are stupendous. Absolutely brilliant.
You can probably tell I'm rather enjoying this walk, as I'm sure the rest of our party are as well.
Meadows are just full, completely full of flowers.
Our way forward now is through endless flower-filled meadows. They appear full to bursting point with blooms. Quite a spectacular
This
sight.
one's in the programme. Hills. We can't have hills.
At the top of a rise we came to a restaurant. It seems right in the middle of nowhere.
They don't eat all the grass, they eat only the flower.
This would have been a good place to stop, but as we've already eaten, it seems a little pointless. Mind you, the views once again are extremely good. Goat's milk, anybody?
Oh yes. Yes.
Then it's a view on the left side. You see.
Just look at the view when you come up over the top of the rise. Flowers to your left, mountains to the right, mountains in front. Fabulous.
Yeah, I saw those. Look at that pink down there.
It's time for a change of direction. The signpost indicates that Badia is an hour and 10 minutes away. Well, I think it may take a little longer than that. There is so much to see. I don't really think the photos and the video of the next valley does the scenery justice. It is stunning. You'll just have to take my word for it.
But yeah, she did. She was looked a fit lady, didn't she?
The only real downside is the limestone chippings on the path, which are very slippery going downhill.
The garden, we showed the garden off. Probably why they bought it.
These small timber huts are numerous. A little bit worse for wear in some instances.
It's all good stuff.
I'm sure many must be used for stores, but it's difficult to know for certain.
They're flitting everywhere. All right, Keith?
Flowers we saw yesterday are now frequent occurrences here. Spotted orchids, bellflowers and many more.
That's a deep colour, that.
Our first view of Badia since leaving this morning.
Badia.
Quite a welcome sight. But we still have several miles to go.
Look at that. It's stupendous. We're so lucky to have a day like today.
Our pathway cuts into the hillside and creates steepish banks on each side of us. It is a miniature mountain of flowers. And in the middle are wild orange lilies, amongst the many other varieties of alpine flowers.
That's HGL.
At this level, the meadows are now being harvested, turned into cattle feed for the winter months. We've come across a shortcut which other people are taking. It's across fields and eventually leads back onto the paths and another useful signpost. We follow the directions to Badia, once more along loose gravel roads.
Continue downwards.
The trail takes us into a small forest and then onto a farm.
Can we go down there, Pete?
On the map it shows an alternative route, but when we eventually found it, there was extensive excavation works being undertaken. We had no real alternative but to follow the roadway.
Oh, beautiful.
We did go past what would be described as bungalows in this country, but in Italy it is more in the style of a mountain chalet, with a large roof overhang to protect against snow. Possibly part of the adjacent farm.
Wow. Look at that. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Bit windy.
Rubber on top.
Just coming into Badia now. We've still got about 2.25 miles to go. Here we go, taking a shortcut.
And have to find the path at the foot of the chairlift. A fairly easy task. The walk today has had such variety, from high mountain pathways to flower-laden meadows,
Wow.
with river pathways thrown in for good measure. Our next walk is from Colfosco.